The Citizen Mike Show. News. Commentary. Interviews. Citizen Mike Show starts now.
Hey, welcome to the Citizen Mike Show. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. My name is Mike Berdinsky, and on that other side of that split screen is Christopher K. Shortell. Now, obviously, we're not coming to you from the WPAA studios, but here we are. We're going to do the best we can. Chris, before we get going, I just want to reestablish the ground rules. They're a little different. I don't want you getting too close to me. I see you're not wearing a mask. I'm a little disappointed about that. I don't want you sneezing in my direction, and I don't want you breathing heavy when you look at me like you usually do when we're at the WPA studios, because I don't want to get some awful disease because you're just right over there next to me. You got those ground rules?
I hear you, and I will obey.
All right. So an important development in Wallingford government and politics, and that has to do with the community pool. The bids have just recently come in, the bids for the reconstruction of the pool. Want to share those with our viewers, Chris, and get your thoughts on them. But before I do that, we need a little context. And that takes us back to the fall of 2019, when the town's consultant, who came at a very high price, he was the highest bidder, our consultant, but he came at a very high price, and he presented to the Wallingford Town Council what he thought the cost of the pool would be. So let's hear him first.
So you're probably wondering what this all cost. We've got a lot of data from recent pools that we've built, but we've also retained the services of an independent cost estimator who's taken a second look at this, so we're pretty comfortable that these numbers are realistic. And we broke it down by the sort of major groups, and our target was to stay in or around that $5 million construction budget.
So you heard what he had to say, and it was a $5,650,000 estimate, but how did the bids turn out? Let's take a look. And I took a little video from my cell phone of the current bid numbers. Let's watch that.
This is a tabulation of the bids for the reconstruction of community pool. It was prepared by the town's purchasing department. And as you can see, it summarizes the three bids that came in. The red arrow is mine, and the red arrow points to the lowest bid submitted by Bantam Construction Company. As you can see, the bid for the hard cost for the reconstruction of the pool is $5,756,332. Now, that does not include soft costs, which our consultant previously estimated at about $750,000. So to build the pool, you'd have to add that $750,000 to the $5.7 million, and let's round it to about $6.4 million. But that would be without some extras. The town decided that it wanted to see what it would cost to build a picnic pavilion, a playground, a larger water slide, and a sand volleyball court. So they added those alternatives into the bid, and it's up to the town to pick all, none, or one or more of those things. And if the town decided to go for all of those alternative options, the price of the pool would be roughly $6.2 million plus the soft cost of $750,000. All
right, Chris, here's the dilemma. The bids came in about $850,000 higher than what we thought we would have to pay based on what our consultant told us back in the fall. It's a lot of extra money. I'm adding in the soft costs, which the
Mhm.
consultant estimated at 750,000, of course. And there's been some talk on, Citizen Mike shows that there was some sort of a said supposed budget, which I take as a cost ceiling. Maybe there's another meaning for the term. I don't know. And we're obviously way above that said supposed budget of 6 million. Are these numbers a deal breaker for the pool? Your thoughts?
I don't think so. I don't know that we're way above it. I mean, we're above it. I don't know. When you look at some of the specifics, some of the elements are a little bit different. The sand volleyball court was supposed to be 15 grand, and it's, depending on the bid spec you look at, it's 68 to 80. So I don't get that. The picnic pavilion, similarly, it's much up, up there. But I mean, in general, yeah, it's a little higher. If if some of us wanted to spend 6 million, are we not going to want to spend 6.5? I mean, I don't, I guess it would have to we'll have to see how it goes. I think at least one of these bids, if not two of them, are kind of in the ballpark from my perspective. So,
Well, I'm just saying that a big deal was made of a $6 million budget. And now
right.
the way you're talking, well, it really wasn't a budget. We don't take that seriously. And
That's not what I said.
we have to go above budget. We'll go above budget. I mean, that's what I hear you saying.
No, I think that there's some dispute about the 6 million number, where it came from. My recollection is that there was an early meeting 2 years ago where there was an initial estimate that we could get this great pool for around 6 million. And then it came back that, well, we can't get a pool with all those amenities at that price. But I think that's where it came from. And again, looking at this, so do we scuttle the whole thing because it's 6.4? I mean, I don't know.
Well, you got
It
to
seems,
take that up with your fellow counselors. But again, I want to get
yeah,
back to the raw numbers. The lowest bid from Bantam Construction plus the soft costs brings the price of the pool to 6.5 million,
okay,
even without a playground, a volleyball court, any enhancements. You're at 6.5. I think the playground is the most important amenity. That's almost 200,000. That'd bring you up to 6.7 million. And I'm telling you, ringing in my ears is this budget of 6 million. And the way you're talking is like, don't worry about it. You could go. You, Christopher K. Shortell, when you take your seat on the council, you might be able to go for 6.5,
yeah.
6.7.
Well, because we would not pay for this out of the operating budget. We would not write a check out of the general fund. We would bond this. So I guess over a 30-year bond, the difference between 6 million and 6.5 million, to me, if that's going to cost, that just seems like a small difference. Would that be small? I don't. You know what? You tell me. You're a former counselor. Am I minimizing that? Is that a big difference?
No, I'm not on
Um,
the same page you are, or anyone else for that matter. I thought
yeah,
the
I know.
approach should be get the right size of the pool, which was
Right.
not the approach of the council or Park and Rec or the mayor. Get the right size of the pool, which has not been done. The pool is presently sized, in my view, is way too small. And then put that out to bid without announcing a budget. But the mayor broke all his own rules by announcing the budget first. I mean, it's my view that that $6 million originated in the mayor's office and was sort of
I,
adopted with a wink and a nod by everybody else. But that I'm not really bothered, that much by a budget. I would like to do it right, have it the right size, have the right amenities, and see what the number is. And I could, because of the bonding and the low interest rates that are currently prevailing because of the recession, the COVID-19 virus recession, I'm going to call it. Interest rates are
yeah.
down. This is a time to bond. I'd rather see a great pool. That's my view. Your view.
Well, he just threw a lot in there.
I did.
I don't. Okay, I don't think there was a secret meeting. I think that there was a meeting.
Not a
2 years
secret
ago.
meeting. I'm not saying a secret meeting.
Okay. Well, let's just a few quick facts.
Sure.
My understanding, I don't think anybody has the size pool that we currently have anywhere. Whatever, 44,000 cubic
No,
feet.
that's not on the table. That's not.
I know it's not, but I'm saying I understood. So the
Yeah.
pool is always going to be smaller. Whatever we even the Brudzinski, resort pool that you want to build was going to be smaller than what we have now. But we agree in the sense that I don't want to and I said this back then, I don't want nickel and dime this. I don't want to get this far and be at a meeting and say, well, let's cut the pavilion and let's cut the volleyball court just to get it down to $6 million. Well, why? I go back to what I said before. Why not make this as nice as we can make it? So I would advocate for all these extras in here, because again, to your point, if we bond it, the interest rates are low. I don't think it's going to break the bank to go a little higher based on these bids.
Bottom line, then, we're bumping up very close to $7 million with all the amenities, and you're a yes vote. True?
I'm a yes vote.
All right.
I'm the playground. The one element I've vacillated on is the playground, and I'm like 51% yes on the playground. I just struggle with that one. They initially said the playground could be $500,000, and that's where I felt like we have all these playgrounds in town, school playgrounds. You drive by them, no one's ever on them. If the playground came in at $500,000, I might. I mean, it didn't, but I mean that was one possible variable that I might back off on. But yeah, I'm a yes vote.
Okay.
Otherwise,
so the COVID environment, the COVID virus environment, you don't, or what is your view? Would the troubled times that we're in, to use the trite phrase, do you think that's troubling enough to most of the counselors so that they would say, no, we this is not the right time to go in on a pool, especially in view of the numbers, which are way above, I'm going to characterize it as way above what we thought it was originally going to be? Or do you think the counselors and the mayor would forge ahead, despite the economic crisis, and it is a crisis that we're presently facing?
I would want to understand what does that mean? So the money would go where then? Are we saying that we would bond $7 million and give it to small businesses in town? Is that the decision? Is that the choice? Like, what's the choice? Is it just an excuse to not spend the money?
Excuse.
We have it right. Well, I know that's where you're going. That's why I'm specific. I'm saying that I would want to if that came up, I would want to challenge that and say just what I said. What would the money be spent on? And maybe heck, if the answer is we're going to bond $7 million and dole it out to all these restaurants in town that have been closed, I might sign up for that. I don't think that's the choice. I think if that argument is used, I think it's probably an excuse. And my response would be, how old is the current pool? It's 50 years old or so.
I don't have that in front of me, but
I don't have it. But so let's go through the world. So certainly that pool existed during the Vietnam War. It existed during the Great Recession of the early 90s, the 70s economic woes. It existed during 9/11. So now we can't have a pool because of COVID, but we had a pool through these other the crises we faced. So no, I don't buy that. And again, unless there is a specific counter proposal, I would not accept that argument.
I'm with you on that. Let me find something that we may not agree on. Okay, maybe we can find something.
You're good at that.
Reach deep enough into our basket of tricks, we can come up with a counterpoint here. And the issue I want to raise with you is early voting. A lot of states have early voting, and you can pick your date. I don't want to quarrel over when you can start voting. Some states you can start voting earlier than others. But for the purpose of this discussion, to illustrate the point, let's say October 15, early voting by mail is the new law. There's some legislative challenges to this proposal, but let's see you and I can overcome them for the purposes of this hypothetical discussion. So the proposal is forever. I mean, not just because of the coronavirus, although it's a convenient time to talk about it, an opportune time to talk about it. Starting on this in 2020, you can vote by mail starting October 15, and if you want to show up at the polls on the usual election day, you do it. What do you think about that?
Disagree forever. I would allow it. No, I would not do it forever. I don't. This is a subject that I am not. I need to be more well informed on. My gut is I'm against early voting in general, unless you have a reason. I don't understand why you need to vote early. To me, the founders set up a system that we vote on a specific day.
The reason is so obvious.
Why do we have to vote early?
It's so obvious. Currently, currently you got to vote on a Tuesday. A lot of people work on a Tuesday. Some people may be busy that day. And, you know, the alternative is
You have to vote 5 months ahead of time?
yeah, let's make voting as inconvenient as possible, which is the Shortell plan, or let's make it as
The George
convenient.
Washington constitutional plan. I didn't make it. This is the way our country is set up.
Or let's
Move
make
it,
it,
move it to a Saturday. Move it to a Saturday.
no, I want early voting by mail from October 15 straight through. If you want to show up on election day, get in your car, get a babysitter if you have to, or get out of work early, whatever the inconvenience is. You know, make it as inconvenient as possible. You got to vote on that day. When it is so easy to do what a lot of other states have done, vote by mail for a couple weeks before the election. It'll encourage voter turnout, which I think is what a lot of Republicans don't want.
That's a canard. That's such a canard.
Such a canard.
You on our show, was it last year, said that you don't think you reject this notion that people should just vote. You want informed voters, correct? Didn't you say that last year on our show? We talked about the idea of everyone needs to vote.
Everyone does need to vote.
But you said you challenged that was a good thing. You did. You said people need to be informed.
My position has always and consistently been pick the legislative package that makes it easier and more convenient to vote to encourage a higher voter turnout. That is what I have always said in context, and I'm staying by it now.
Are you a football fan?
I'm seizing on the coronavirus problem as an opportune time to raise it again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I would agree. Okay, I would agree with this year. Are you a football fan?
Mildly.
Do you watch the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you know how the Super Bowl has an MVP? There is an MVP of the Super Bowl.
I'm not equating. I'm not giving you.
No. Let me finish. So the Brzezinski. So here's the two plans. So the media and the fans, it's a joint vote. They vote on the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Sure.
When would you vote? The second quarter? Is that when you would vote for the MVP of the Super Bowl? Before halftime?
You've got a ridiculous argument. You really do. I'm talking about voting, and you're talking about a sport. I mean, but tell you what.
It's the same thing. How do you make an informed decision until you have all the data? And my point is,
here's how.
Okay.
It's up to the individual voter to decide when he or she is ready to vote. Christopher K. Shortell unilaterally shouldn't be able to say, even though you're ready on October 15, you know how you're going to go, but we're going to make it inconvenient for you. And even though you're ready to vote, you want to vote, you can put it in the mailbox. We are not going to let you do that. That's the view I disagree with.
It's not meant to make it inconvenient. It is a singular event in the course of the year. And so anyway, I would be open this year. You know, I'm okay even with a couple weeks before, but I just worry about all this early voting because again, it's about making an informed decision. What if you're a voter? You know, there's what was the with Trump in 2016 the audio tapes that came out about the stuff he said, you know, about women that came out in October, pretty late in that campaign. What if you were a Trump voter and you voted for him early and then that came out and you're like, I would never vote for him?
Discourage any Trump voters. I tell you.
No. You don't know that. I'm
trying another example. The Trump voters are still.
Biden has the sexual assault allegation against him right now that the mainstream media doesn't seem to be too interested in. So I mean, I'm just saying that things in a campaign come out. You have debates. So there's usually 2 to 3 presidential debates in October that are the one time where you see these candidates as unscripted as you're going to see them, fielding questions from the press, sometimes from each other. I just think as a voter, you need to see all that, I think.
So maybe I wasn't clear, and I'll clarify remarks and let you have the final word. I was never saying, maybe I garbled my words. No voter is compelled to vote early. Got it? No voter.
No. I know that.
So I think what you're saying is those silly voters, shame on them. They didn't wait till the last minute, and now everyone's got to.
It's not the last minute. It's an election. All right. Well,
you got the final word.
I love how I'm the founding fathers in this great experiment
Oh man.
Made it inconvenient. That was their goal. In 1787, when they wrote the Constitution, it was let's make it hard for people to vote.
They didn't have a postal service hardly. Come on.
I mean,
This is the 21st century. Hey, let's call it a wrap. We're going to
okay.
try further Citizen Mike episodes in this manner. And,
Yeah, maybe.
we got stuff to talk about. We got to talk about the budget, and I want to get into some coronavirus stuff with you.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting perspectives, I think, on how the press is covering that. So maybe we'll reserve that for future episodes. All right.
Could I throw that nugget out about the pool as our
the
final
boy
word?
with his finger raised. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, just to go back, a little budget nugget. And go back to our first topic is the topic. We have the existing community pool, and very quickly, the plan was that the existing community pool was not going to be open this summer. That the anticipation was that the new pool would be passed, and we would break ground this summer, and there'd be no pool. There was some discussion that maybe we would still fund the existing pool just in case the new pool doesn't pass the council. This is before COVID, but I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, well you and I both went in the budget, and I called Jim Bose to confirm, and we have confirmed that one way or another, the community pool, the current one, will not be open this summer. It is not funded in the current budget, which we both agree is a responsible decision. I don't think the pool was ever going to open with COVID. Now it wasn't opening anyway. So just a little nugget in the budget that may not be widely known. But
let's call it a wrap, and thanks everyone for tuning in the Citizen Mike Show. Our episodes may be irregular and erratic, but we thank you for viewing. I can send you a link to the Citizen Mike Show if you just let me know that you want a link sent. You can get to me through the WPAA studios, look me up in the phone book, anything you want to do. And watch Facebook, because I post these shows and links to them on various pages in Facebook. Good night, Chris. Good night, everybody.